Good morning, everyone. It's so wonderful to see you all here today. I hope that you all enjoyed those intro tunes. Thank you so much for joining us for today's Back to School event. My name is Courtney Cintron, and I am the Manager of Partnerships and Learning with Ingenuity. I want to kick things off today by introducing you to an amazing group of individuals who have collaborated over the past couple of months to bring you this week's programming. And I would love to just take a moment to acknowledge and celebrate them, including Ingenuity's team, Nicole Upton, Ingenuity's Managing Director and Bold Leader, Nyla Bush and Anna Mason, our incredible interns that spearheaded many of the logistics, the vision, and the planning for this event. Yeah, feel free to wave, give a round of applause if you'd like. We'd also not be here today without the dynamic thought partnership and work of our collaborators from Communities and Schools of Chicago and Chicago Literacy Alliance. Karen Roddy, Associate Director of Community Partnerships with Communities and Schools of Chicago. Robin Kolsch, Senior Director of Partnerships with Communities and Schools of Chicago. Tim Klessner, Impact Team Intern with Chicago Literacy Alliance, Erin McCann, Community Director with Chicago Literacy Alliance, and Annie Rizak, Director of Strategic Initiatives with Chicago Literacy Alliance, who unfortunately is unable to join us this morning, but thank you so much to all of you for all of your amazing work on this project. We are here to welcome you to the very first joint Back to School event, and we are so grateful for this collaboration and the opportunity to share virtual space with you all. So before we continue, I just want to go over a few quick housekeeping notes. Please note that this event is being recorded, and there will be a recording available within a couple of weeks. And also feel free to update your name with your pronouns and your organization's name, or introduce yourself in the chat if you'd like. And finally, I just want to share a link with you to the Back to School event page. On this page, you can register for other happenings this week as part of the Back to School week and access back to school tools and resources. So let's drop that in the chat for you. I'll do that now. There we go. Okay, so why are we here? We know that this past year and a half has tried us all, and we've been extended past our boundaries and expertise, and in many ways, relearning how to make arts education happen for our students in all of these various new ways and contexts. But you are incredible humans, and it's a testament to your perseverance and relentless care and courageousness that we are all here today sharing space. So today is about connecting and coming together to navigate what's ahead. And we hope that we can provide you with some helpful tools, resources, our personal support, and maybe some light humor along the way. So a little bit about our collaboration to get things started. Realizing that there is a lot of intersection in what we do and how we serve partners, whether through procedural trainings, resource trainings, or resource sharing, and learning. Ingenuity, Communities and Schools of Chicago, and Chicago Literacy Alliance decided to join forces and combine our collective resources and knowledge to design this event for you. So it's serving as a virtual roadmap and guide for both new and seasoned community partner organizations working in CPS amid these ongoing changes. So together, we're serving up live, virtual, and pre-recorded sessions covering the fundamentals of working with CPS within the current context, and a number of tools for supporting partnerships. It's our intention to also keep this collaboration going and to work together to provide you with ongoing assistance, connection, and translation of policies, opportunities, and district-wide updates and changes. And also advocate for the information and support that you need so that you can begin or continue to provide CPS with access to your invaluable programs. So today we're going to focus once again on setting you up for success, providing you with some key tools, and we'll also ensure that you all have access to session links and guidelines. I also want to say that we may not always have the answers to your questions immediately, but we will do our very best throughout the week and through this collaboration to elevate your questions to CPS personnel and secure as much information for you as possible. So with that, we're ready to get started. I'd like to hand things off to Erin McCann to share today's land acknowledgement. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to be in community with you today. So yes, we'd like to begin the gathering with land acknowledgement to recognize and honor the Indigenous peoples as the traditional stewards of this land, and as a step towards correcting the practices that erase Indigenous peoples from history and culture, and towards inviting and honoring the truth. We'd like to acknowledge that this virtual conference is taking place on the stolen land of the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, the Potawatomi, and the Ottawa Nations. Many tribes, such as the Miami, Ho-Chunk, Menominee, Sac and Fox, Kickapoo, and Peoria Nations also called this area home. Because of the Great Lakes, the land became a site for travel, healing, trade, and gathering for more than a dozen other Native tribes. The state of Illinois is still home to over 75,000 tribal members, and Chicago is home to the 6th largest urban American Indian community that still practice their traditions and care for the land, waterways, and cosmos. We also acknowledge that these lands are the traditional birthright of Indigenous peoples who were forcibly removed and who have faced centuries of struggle in the wake of displacement, violence, and dispossession. As we begin this program, let's honor these ancestral grounds that we now occupy and begin to rethink and reflect on our relationship and responsibility to this land and its original peoples. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. I am Naila Bush, current intern here at Ingenuity's Partnership and Learning Department. And at this time, we'd like to check in with everyone and see who's joining us today. We know there are a lot of you here and we wish we could all connect in person, but hopefully we'll be able to have the opportunity to soon. In the meantime, we would like to use the following who's in the room poll to tell us a little bit about yourself. We'll be launching that poll shortly. And we would like to know, what sectors are you joining us from and what roles best describe where you're coming from? Are you new or returning CPS partner? And what topics are you most interested in learning about this week?
Just checking in here to make sure our attendees can see the poll. Can I just get some visual acknowledgement if you see?
No. I see who's in the room.
We have one challenge with hitting submit, but other folks.
Courtney, I'm wondering if you can try launching. It's not, I'm sharing it, but I don't think anybody is seeing it. I'm not seeing any votes.
Some are, some are not.
I see votes. Let me share results. I'm sorry, I wasn't sure. Okay, there we go. Can everyone see now?
Yes.
Beautiful.
All right, now that we got that all handled. Okay, so it looks like when looking at the sectors we're joining us from, we have the highest percentage with the arts and culture sector, which is great. Basic needs is probably our lowest population. We have a lot of people coming from literary, college, and career readiness. In terms of the roles, we have a high percentage of program coordinators, managers, and directors. Thank you all for joining us today, as well as a lot of community engagement coordinators, managers and directors, executive or artistic directors. And we have a high percentage of returning partners. So thank you all for coming back, and a good amount of new partners. So welcome to you all. And for those who are not currently a partner, hopefully you learned something today and enjoy your time here. And it seems we have high interest and background checks and best practices when planning for residencies and field trips. Tier status, supplier attestation, So the best news is that we'll cover all of these topics or try to get to most of these topics. So thank you all so much. Throughout the week, we'll be covering these topics. So be sure to register for our office hours and question and answers. And be sure to check out our B2S webpage here. And now I'm going to hand it off to my fellow intern, Anna, to give us a look at today's agenda. So thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Before we move into the heart of this morning's presentation, I'm going to provide you with a brief look at the arc of the day and what you can expect during our time together this morning. We'll start off by giving you an overview of the back to school week. Then we'll introduce you to some helpful tools and resources to add to your toolkit. Next, we'll move into breakout sessions where you'll have an opportunity to select a group to learn a little bit more about. Finally, we'll share some reminders for the week and leave some room for you to ask any questions that you may have. And here's a look at the week ahead. Once again, you can register for all of these sessions on the Back to School webpage. Beginning tomorrow, August 3rd, we will get started with office hours. Office hours will be staffed by our team along with Jess Rodriguez, Operations Manager from the Department of Arts Ed, and you'll be provided an opportunity to ask any technical questions that you might have about partnering with CPS, with our organizations, or you can just come by and say hi. We will offer office hours on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week. Additionally, tomorrow, CIS will be hosting their partner kickoff event from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Be sure to join us on Friday at 10 a.m. for a Q&A and networking event. The Q&A will highlight the most discussed topics from throughout the week and provide a final opportunity for any pending questions. But we'll get into the differences between those two events in just a bit. First, I'm going to hand it back off to Nyla to share some helpful tools and resources for the week.
One of our goals in coming together this week has really been about pulling together all partner resources in one place and helping streamline and navigate. If you go to the following B2S webpage, you'll find some tools for success, including animated procedural videos. And these videos have been produced by myself and Anna, and they aim to provide an engaging and colorful breakdown of CPS partner procedures and policies. There's 6 short videos paired with important resources, and they will be released throughout the week. And those topics are how to become a CPS vendor, vendors versus volunteers, attestation, field trips, material reviews, and background checks. We also have a resource guide with additional links and tools that you might find helpful, which also include updates and information on our individual organizations. And if you have questions about how to approach a partner, Ingenuity's Art program might be a helpful starting point. It's a public virtual database that finally we would like to provide with some guidelines and support on how to prepare for the week ahead. And now I'm going to hand things off to Robin to provide you all with some helpful tips and guidelines for office hours and Friday's Q&A.
All right, good morning, everybody. These folks are so buttoned up, and for those of you that know me, I'm less buttoned up. So here we go. Let's talk about office hours. You heard a lot of things about what's happening this week, and we want you to stick with us, stay engaged, take what you need, and like bookmark some things, right? Start to develop your school year toolkit, and these office hours are going to help. So they're happening on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. At some of the links that we've dropped in, that's where you can register for those. You do need to register because you're going to need a link, and that link's going to come to you once you register. So register. And those are really opportunities for you to come prepared with your questions, right? We hear all the time from folks that have, yeah, that's great, the video on how to become a vendor, I get that, but, right, it's that but that you have a really specific situation that's hard to get an answer to in a format like this. So we've created opportunities for y'all to get those questions answered and tell us your specific niche story, and we're going to try to chase down some answers for you, or we might have them in that moment. So come prepared with those questions. Take a look at the videos that my fellow collaborators were just talking about. A, they're really well done, so just note that. And B, they're super helpful. They're short, they kind of have the information you need. Again, I've got all these saved in a folder in my Google Drive called Back to School Resources, not just for my preparation for today, but for like my life throughout the school year. So during these sessions, during the office hours, we're going to share the questions in the chat. That's the plan so that we can keep a record of what those questions were. And if we weren't able to answer a question in that moment, that we have a record of what it was, and we can swing back around and get those answered. Be concise. Do not use me as an example. I'm not concise, but you're going to want to land that plane and get your question really sort of to the point there so that everybody can benefit from that information. And that goes along with, like, listen closely, right? What we're telling all of our students, listen to the questions that your colleagues might have because it might be your question. So we can all learn from each other in those spaces. These are meant to be somewhat informal, hence why I'm the one introducing these. But the idea is that, you know, that we also build community through these opportunities, and obviously we're not in person. So these office hours can be an opportunity for us to do that in addition to getting our questions answered. But, you know, feel free to ask me like how my kids are doing, et cetera. And again, I know that my colleagues keep hitting on this, but I will also as well. We might not have all the answers, right? We all know that there are a lot of questions. Those questions are changing with what's happening in our universe. And so we just want to be clear that we are here to support you, but we're not magic people. We don't have magic wands, but we're gonna do our best to support you and make sure that the school year is as successful as possible. And then the Friday session, the Q&A, you're like, wait, weren't we asking questions all week long? You were. We're going to grab those questions and we're going to elevate the ones that we've heard, like, hey, we heard this in every office hours. We want to make sure we're bringing this one to the top. So if you could only make it on Friday, you heard the question and the answer to what we're hearing a lot of your colleagues are asking. But we are also going to kind of cap the week with a little bit of a networking. We're calling it Coffee with Your Community. And I hear myself, when I hear the word networking, you probably just tuned out and you're like, I'm definitely not doing that. You're definitely doing it. It's going to be so fun because it's not a typical like, hey, let's talk on this thing. It's going to be like lightning fast. Get your pitch ready, get your comms going, you know, check out what you're saying about what you're doing, and you'll get to hear from other people, learn about what they're doing, share what you're doing, and start off some opportunities for some great collaboration that are going to help us serve students the best way possible throughout this school year. Okay, that's my fast talking. I think next we have a really great video that we're excited to share with you.
I'm Dandria Williams, Executive Director at Symphony of Change. Being an arts partner at CPS is amazing because I came from CPS. So being able to impact those students that need love, attention, creative outlets reminds me of myself.
Hi, my name is Mickey Kudia. I'm the Chicago Program Manager for HEART. For me, what being a CPS partner means is to build upon the great work that teachers are doing in the classroom. So our program brings in fun, unique lessons and kind of gives the students a different voice during the day. So I think that's what we do to add to the school partnerships.
Hi, my name is John Foster. I'm the Education Manager over at the Jazz Institute of Chicago. What it means for us to be a CPS partner is building deeper community relationships, as well as engaging students and teachers and creative learning and professional development, as well as giving them a direct connection to Chicago's rich jazz scene.
Hi, my name is Julia Hinojosa, and I am the Assistant Director of Education Programs at Arts and Public Life. As a former CPS student, I feel grateful to be able to partner with an institution that laid a solid foundation for my success as an adult. I admire their commitment to arts education for all of their students. It's a testament to the value they place on graduating future leaders with a well-rounded education, and an honor to be a part of it.
Hi everybody, I'm Sam Kaintop. I'm the Program Manager here at Big Green Chicago. And to me, it is important to be a CPS partner because as a organization working in 200 schools, the district is our biggest partner. So we have to always work with them. That means following the correct procedures to be able to work as volunteers in schools or as a vendor with our schools. It means being responsive to the needs of our individual schools as well as supporting the policies of the districts.
love that. That was so lovely and wonderful. I love community partners. You all just make me so happy. So thank you. Thank you to all the folks out there that did those videos. So far this morning, you've heard a lot about partnerships and collaboration. And so there's no one meaning of partnerships. We're definitely all in this together, 100%. And so although our 3 organizations have come together to help you navigate the school year, we also have individual resources available to you. So what we're about to do, we're gonna have a 30-minute breakout session. So 1 session, 3 breakout rooms, excuse me, 1 for each of our organizations, so you can learn more. So if you know Ingenuity really, really well, but you're not really sure who the CLA is, this is the perfect time to learn more about the CLA. If you are CIF's Chicago Community Partner, join us tomorrow for your kickoff and take this time to jump into the Ingenuity to the CLA session. So what we're gonna do is, this is what's going to be covered, right? So if you want to listen in on the CLA session, they're gonna talk about the CPS Department of Literacy, data for funding, their equity organizational assessment. For CIS of Chicago, we're gonna talk about who we are, what are the benefits of partnership, what's the pathway to becoming a partner? And then for Ingenuity, get to know more about what Ingenuity is doing, their partnership resources and programs, and the program dates. So that is what each session will be talking about. So in a moment, the breakout rooms will open. And so it will either pop up on your screen, or on the bottom of your screen, you will see a thing that says breakout rooms. And so you will be able to select which room you'd like to enter. You will be Hi, I'm back. Just kidding. Just kidding. I'm back. I got sent to the room. So you will get to choose the room. But if you are like, you know what, this is really great, I actually do know a lot about this organization, you will have the opportunity to join a different room. We will get a notification before it's over. Please do come back to the main room, but select leave breakout, leave room. Do not leave the presentation. We want you to come back so that we can just debrief briefly, share what's happening for the rest of the week. So take a moment, decide which room you'd like to join, which organization you'd like to learn more about. And again, on the bottom, it says breakout rooms. Select which one you'd like to join. And off you go. If you are on the phone, hold tight. Nicole is managing the breakout rooms and will be able to get you into the room that you need to get to. And if you're confused, you can also ask Nicole for some help. All right, so 30 minutes. Join your
back, everyone. Once again, we've done the sorcery and we're back here in the room together. I hope those breakout sessions were helpful and that you have a better understanding of how we can support you with our various resources. And you know, if we didn't answer all of your questions, don't worry. You can always reach out to us, send us an email. I'm happy to answer questions or, you know, set up a one-on-one meeting to clarify anything else that you have in mind. But I just want to recap a little bit on the week. So remember that you can register for office hours at that back to school webpage once again. And there are 3 different opportunities for office hours this week. So we hope to see you at one or maybe even all of them. And we'll also be joined by Jess Rodrigue. She is the operations manager with the CPS Department of Arts Ed, and she has a wealth of knowledge on operations and vendor processes. So I'm super excited to have her there, and she'll be able to answer those really minute and technical questions. So that will be great. And it'll, like we said earlier, it'll be a little bit more informal. You'll just be able to share your questions in the chat and we'll kind of answer them as they come up. And then once again, as Robin said earlier, just to recap, Friday, we'll build off of your questions with a Q&A highlights portion. And then you'll have an opportunity to connect with peers and do some networking. And like Robin said, it's not like lengthy or you're going to be in a room with someone for a really long time. It's going to be like 5 minutes, 3 minutes. You're talking, you're sharing your little pitch, and then just connecting really quickly. So come ready and prepared with that. I think it'll be fun. So that's what we have in store for you this week. So we'd like to, for this second portion, just open it up to any questions that you might have about the flow of the week, what else you can expect, what else you need, what you want to focus on. So feel free to, once again, drop your questions in the chat or raise your virtual hands, and we'll call on you and do our very best to answer your questions.
We should have prepared Jeopardy music.
I do love doing it.
Looks like we do have a raised hand, Courtney.
Okay, great. Let me open this up. Okay, so Lee Peters, looks like you're already unmuted. Feel free to ask away.
Yeah, I was just curious about any kind of mentorship or connecting opportunities for those who are newer to some of these processes. I know it sounds like some of what this week is about is providing a little bit of an opportunity for that, but I'm curious if there is already anything exists or any potential for something like that in the future, where folks who are newer to these processes can be linked with those who have been doing them for a while, to help understand and go through some of the things that kind of just come up and you can't reach CPS or you can't reach Ingenuity, but there's other folks who kind of know the road.
I can, take an initial stab at that question. At least on Ingenuity's end, we don't have anything like that yet, but we have been discussing that quite a bit recently and thinking about a mentorship program and connecting more seasoned partners with newer partners and what that might look like. But we don't have anything like that yet. I think this week is definitely a start. And maybe as we move through the week, will kind of evolve even more. But yeah, I think in a way this is meant to provide that mentorship, that technical support. The office hours are going to be really great for that, because you'll be able to just chat with us for a while and talk with both CPS and us. I don't know if anyone else wants to add on to that.
I will. Hi, all. It's Robin from Communities and Schools. I'll just add that absolutely that's part of what we're hoping to accomplish this week. Additionally, Communities and Schools is happy to do some more specific matching with current partners, or like a partnership specialist on our end is someone that you can regularly utilize to navigate things. But love the peer-to-peer.
We've got some other questions coming up here in the chat. I dropped some other information. I'm just going to try to go through these as we're getting them. There was some question about many of you might have heard that Ingenuity has just recently partnered with Lollapalooza on something new called the Lollapalooza Arts Education Fund. I dropped a link in the chat where you could find out more about that process. It's really exciting. Catherine, it looks like you've got a question about how do you know if you're a returning partner? Does partnership lapse? Yes, indeed, partnership does lapse. And so usually if you are a partner, you have something called a vendor number. That's kind of your entryway into everything CPS. If you have not used your vendor number, if you've had one, if you haven't used it for a year or more, you automatically become a lapsed partner. And the district will make you go through the entire process of getting a vendor agreement once again. If you've got specific details on whether or not you have a vendor number, we can likely look at that, or have some of our colleagues at the CPS Department of Arts Education look to see if you are indeed a vendor. Okay, so we've got another question here about, am I missing something? Yeah, so clarity on CPS. Will it be 100% in person this fall? And certainly with Delta variant, there is definitely uncertainty right now. As of right now, and as of the latest information, CPS is planning to be in person in the fall with full masking procedures for all staff and students. Hashtag question mark, right? I know a lot of things have changed, in particular in the last 2 weeks. But as far as what we know right now, yes, we are still 100% in person this fall, but as usual, be prepared for that to change at any moment. I think one of the pieces of advice we gave a lot of the partners Ingenuity worked with last year was to be prepared to be flexible and adjust kind of overnight. I think we probably want to continue to encourage that kind of flexibility in thinking and preparedness as you go into this new year. Chris, it looks like you've got a question. We'll pause for that.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up. So I had put in the chat regarding the attestation process, which I'm sorry, I think has been so confusing. So I've had a vendor number for 8 years. There were so many things this past year in the virtual things that we had to do, and, you know, courses, mini courses we had to take, you know, if you have a CPS email as a vendor, and, you know, getting certified and all those things. I missed that attestation piece because that was brand new. So I have followed up. It took 3 weeks for me to finally get somebody in person who worked with me on the phone day after day to get that whole, I have a vendor number. My vendor was not expired, but I became inactive, didn't get paid the rest of the money from Community Schools Fund for finishing up at Hate School because the attestation thing happened in the middle of that. I was submitting my invoices, didn't get payments. I was like, what's going on? They said, well, you're inactive. So I finished the application. My question is, if I'm starting again in September at a school with my vendor, they're not giving any promise on timing because I probably have to get a background check again and do all of that. Do you all have any inroads or wisdom about how to get that happening in a timely fashion? Thank you.
Well, first of all, Chris, you are not alone. I think there are probably a lot of other people right now on this call, on this session, who are nodding with the shared frustration that you have felt and the lack of clarity and the difficulty in getting folks at CPS to respond. So I would actually recommend, Chris, that you attend one of our office hours sessions where we can help kind of sort out some of the details of this that we don't unfortunately have the time to get into in this particular portion of our presentation. But we know attestation is kind of this new thing. It is one of the many moving parts of what it means to deliver services within CPS. So I'd encourage that. And we've got some good help that I think can get you some direction and answers on that. I would also say, to your point, Chris, it's what we're noticing kind of out in the world right now is people are understaffed in restaurants and in stores and in things like that. It's kind of not much different when you're thinking about CPS in the vendor and the kind of procurement offices. They are also severely understaffed right now. That's not an excuse, certainly, for the big challenges that all of you have, but I'm also just kind of bringing out that we're at a really difficult time right now still in trying to kind of sort out the actual people power to help us get some questions answered.
That was very helpful. Thank you. I signed up for tomorrow.
Great. Awesome. Beth Sampson, I see your message here on RFQ. Definitely please come to one of the office hour sessions, especially when we've got Jess Rodrigue from the CPS Department of Arts Education on. I'm not sure who you were trying to chat with on that arts partner RFQ, but that theoretically should be easier and remove some of the barriers there. But I understand that you haven't kind of gotten much support on that yet.
Thanks, Nicole. Yeah. And we're signed up. We'll be there.
Awesome. Yes, this presentation is being recorded, everyone. We've gotten a number of questions about the breakout sessions, which have not been recorded, but we can make the presentations available to everyone. So we will post those, Courtney, on the website, or where are we going?
I'm not sure. That might be like an email follow-up or maybe a touch base one-on-one, just because I don't know if the presentations will necessarily fill in the context and all of the information, but we can certainly post them online if that's helpful though too.
And there will be somebody from each of our organizations in the office hours, so please feel free to use that time to connect and chat. Okay. What other questions can we help to at least field or give you a little bit of direction on right now? We'll get into the nitty-gritty of your questions in our office hours for sure. Attestation. I mean, isn't that a word? Whew. That is a Jeopardy word if I ever heard one, or a spelling bee word if I've ever heard one. Can you use that in a sentence? No, CPS, I can't. I don't know what that means. Great. So I think, Court, I'm going to hand it back to, Dr. Solomon, did you have a question?
Yes, I have one quick question, and I'm going to turn my video on. And I'm operating from 2 monitors, so if you see my head going one way, that's because I'm reading. And I'm on the site that for the link that you just posted to CPS. And so I'm wondering, for preparation for tomorrow office hours, can we start the vendor process now, even though we don't have a school attached to us, or should we just wait until tomorrow? I don't know if you understand, if my question is clear.
I think I understand. I would say that yes, definitely bring that to office hours. It's a bit of a challenge right now in order to get that vendor number started. And right now, the way that CPS is doing that is through a school kind of sponsored vendor relationship, which implies that you are working with the school and have established a relationship with a school. That is pretty much the kind of standard at this point, but we can certainly talk you through the details of what it means and how to become a vendor, and what the principal, for example, at a school would need to do to help accelerate that for you on behalf of you.
So then, and I promise I won't ask any more questions until tomorrow. So we've been working in schools for the past 3 years, I think. And as I said earlier, the principals, they don't have time to, to assist us with this. Is there any way we can work this backwards where we can identify some schools in our area that would be willing to help us get through the vendor process?
Dr. Solomon, I think, yes, I think some of the schools that you and I have talked about, I think in our back to school meeting, I think we can certainly revisit those schools and then find, try some different ways of communicating to them to see if they're ready and a little less overwhelmed than they were last year to start that process. So I think that's something you and I can 100% work together on and try some new approaches this year.
Okay, because that would be good, even because if we can start now before the students get in the building, that may be helpful, working with the principal or a designee, before the students get in.
Yeah. Yep. We will meet soon.
Thank you.
Courtney, I'm going to hand it back to you, Courtney. Right?
Yeah. Thank you, Nicole. Okay, so with that, thank you so much for joining us today. I know that there are a lot of questions, and we will, have those office hours, those moments to get into the technical components of everything. Today was just kind of an intro, an overview. So we thank you very much for being here with us. Please also feel free to email us and reach out if you have